The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents Something the Boxing Games Are Missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I'm catching up on some boxing. I had a chance to check out the Showtime card because, as you guys know, yesterday there was 3 cards on. They had the Joshua Pulev card on the Zone in the afternoon in the UK. They had the big card last night with Shakur Stevenson and Berlanga and Clay Collard and Felix Verdejo and Nakatani and all those guys on Top Rank. And while that was on, you had Chris Lil B-Hop Colbert trying to make a statement in the super featherweight division, taking on the very rugged, very formidable, and hard-punching Jaime Arboleta, the Panamanian. So I didn't get a chance to watch that fight. I didn't get a chance to give my full undivided attention to it while it was happening. I mean, I did have it on my computer while the Berlanga fight was on TV. So I didn't get a chance to really see what was a great performance from Chris Colbert. And yes, I watched pretty much every fight as far as the major cards go between DAZN and Showtime and ESPN. Out of all the fights that I watched this weekend, I think this fight and this performance that we saw from Chris Lil B-Hop Colbert was the performance of the week against Jaime Arboleda. And I'm gonna tell you why. So we're gonna start off with the matchup. You know, Arboleta, you know, he's a hard-hitting Panamanian fighter. He came into the fight with 13 stoppage victories and 17 professional fights. So, you know, he's a guy that's developed a reputation for landing devastating punches, or as we call them here on True School Sports, grown man punches. This is a guy that in his fight last August against Victor Betancourt landed a very devastating left hook. I remember it very well. So he's someone that Christopher Colbert on paper, and this is why you can't go by things on paper, because if things were determined by paper in a sport like boxing, then this fight would have been a stinker, because Colbert does not have the reputation for being a big puncher. His knockout ratio doesn't suggest that he'd even have a chance to stop Jaime Arboleta, because he only had 5 knockouts in 14 fights. You know, he was a sub 40% knockout percentage fighter before this fight even happened. So Chris Colbert was going to be tested. He was going to have a guy that was game, formidable, who, if he wasn't careful, could hit him and get him out of there in the ring. And it was up to Colbert to use his smarts, his speed, his athletic ability to win this fight. Now, not only did Chris Colbert win this fight, but Chris Colbert beat Jaime Arboleta at his own game, because Jaime Arboleta had to think coming into this fight that it would have been most advantageous and beneficial to him if Chris Colbert stood in that pocket and traded with him and did all those kind of things. And that's what Colbert did from the word go. From the word go, Chris Colbert in the first 90 seconds of this fight, you know, he's throwing 7 punch combinations, going right at Arboleta unanswered. He was hitting him with combinations in the center of the ring. He was hitting him with combinations off the ropes. He fights in a very awkward style. He can switch hit like a Terrence Crawford, but he does it differently than Terrence Crawford. He'll switch hit and he'll throw a punch in one stance and then finish off in another, and he does it the whole fight. You know, he's got his hands way down here. He's kind of like salsa dancing, and you know, it's almost like he's dancing to merengue and salsa and all these different types of Spanish music, because he moves so awkward but moves so smoothly at the same damn time from both stances, and it makes him a hard fighter to beat when you combine those attributes with speed and power, athleticism, and now, which is this is what I want to highlight the most. Now you got Chris Colbert, who's 24 years old. People forget that Chris Colbert turned pro at a very young age, and he turned pro in 2015. He's 24 now, so he turned pro around like 18, 19 years old, and you don't have your grown man straight at 18, 19 years old. So I think his knockout ratio and his record is very deceiving, because now he's getting his man strength. He's getting stronger in the gym. His fundamentals have improved. His technique has improved. And he's punching from weird angles, combining that blend of athletic ability, technique, and now power. And he's becoming, in my opinion, now look, you can say it's premature. You can say it's not warranted, because he hasn't fought like the top guys at 130. Like, he hasn't fought Burchell or Tank Davis or Jojo Diaz Jr. or Jamel Herring or even a Tevin Farmer or even a Masayuki Ito. But based on the maturity, based on the trajectory he's on, I think Chris Colbert is on a 5-by-5 basis. He's maturing into one of the most complete fighters in the sport. Because I was listening to the great coach from Philadelphia, Benny Briscoe, and he summed up boxing perfectly when he said that boxing is about having all the answers for every question. So when you're fighting your opponent is asking you questions when he throws punches, and you got to have the answers for him. And the guy who has the more answers wins the fight. And when we look at Colbert, he looks like a very difficult guy to beat for that reason. Guys are going to come in and throw punches. They're going to ask him some questions, but he's got lots of answers. You want to come in and trudge towards them and fight at a hard pace. Colbert can sit there and slug it out with you, as he proved it with a hard punching fighter like Jaime Arboleda, who's a younger fighter too. Because Arboleta's no old guy. Arboleta's 26 years old. So this is a guy that was fresh. This is a guy that was ripe. This is a guy that was coming off some good wins in the professional ranks. This guy was no slouch. So if you're a hard punching fighter who wants to try to fight him, Colbert has the answers for you. If you're an experienced fighter like a Jezreel Corrales, he can sit there and outbox you. He can bang with you. He can slug it out with you. You want it orthodox, he can give it to you orthodox. He can counter punch you from the orthodox stance. He can outbox you from the orthodox stance. He could switch to the right hand, and he could neutralize you just with feints and movement and punching off weird angles. He's got lots of answers for any question that any fighter can ask him in that ring. And then when you combine the fact that he's now getting punching power, he's getting his man strength, he's putting punches together, and he fights with a big imagination. He fights with just a lot of confidence. He's a very confident guy, very intelligent guy in that ring, very intelligent guy out that ring. I mean, he just opened up his own restaurant over there in New Jersey. Primetime Chicken. So shout out to Primetime Chicken, Chris Colbert. I might have to go check out Primetime Chicken if I go down there, but. I love what I'm seeing from him. This is a kid that I've been following for a very long time. The first time I saw Chris Colbert fight was all the way back in 2016 actually. 2016 I saw him fight. I think it was 2016. He fought on well, no, it wasn't 2016. It wasn't 2016. I saw him work out at Gleason's gym in 2016. I was at Gleason's gym for the Errol Spence Chris Algieri undercard, and he was just there doing some pad work. So I saw him then. Then I saw him fight in person when he fought Titus Williams, which was a big fight locally in New York City. They had a big rivalry, both undefeated fighters, and put on a masterclass performance against Titus Williams. So I've been following Chris Colbert for almost half a decade now, and I love the development I'm seeing. I love the confidence he fights with. I love everything about him. I love the fact that I love where he's came from in his life, because he comes from a very rough place in Brooklyn, New York. Comes from a family of 10. He's a product of that Teddy Atlas Cops and Kids boxing gym, which has been a great thing for the community over there. It's been one of the great. It's been one of those gyms that's produced some productive, good members of society and people that are destined for greatness. And like Chris Colbert is one of them. Richardson Hitchens, who also fought on this card, he's also a product of that gym. So he's come a long way, not just in his boxing career from what I've seen, but also in his life. And I feel like, he's got the right ingredients to go very far. And you look at the top guys at 130. Let's just go through the top 10 at 130, and I'll tell you guys for sure, I'll name you the fighters who I think he could definitively beat in the top 10 Ring Magazine, all right? When we look at the top 10 Ring Magazine, we got guys like Miguel Pichello, Davis, Diaz, Jojo Diaz, Herring, Farmer. I'll name the guys that I think he could beat at 130, okay? So Andrew Cancio, that'd be a good fight for him, because Andrew Cancio is a lot like Arboleta, except unlike Arboleta, he's actually won a world title. He's been champion. He's very, 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 very tough. So Chris Colbert in a fight against Cancio would have to show that extra bit of quality to get him out of there. But I think he beats him. Oshaki Foster, he's coming off of a good win against the very veteran and formidable Miguel Roman, but I think Chris Colbert, his punches are a little bit too sharp, a bit too versatile, and he's maturing at too quick of a rate for Oshaki to beat him at this point. Maybe if Oshaki can improve a little bit more, it'd be a closer fight, but I'm going to go Colbert in that fight. Masayuki Ito, Chris Colbert will beat the crap out of him. I think he beat him dominantly. Rene Alvarado, I think he beats him. Tevin Farmer, a world champion, a guy that a lot of people think that a guy that is still ranked top 5 by Ring Magazine at 130. I think Chris Colbert will play with him. I think because Farmer does a lot of posing and he don't got no respectable punching power, and there's nothing that I think he can do to keep Colbert off of him or dominate him in the pocket. So I think B-Hop would be him. I would favor Chris Colbert in a Jamel Herring fight. And as far as Jojo Diaz, I think I would favor him against Jojo Diaz if they make that fight. The only 2 guys at 130 that I had to really sit here and think about him not beating would be a guy like Miguel Berchelt and Tank Davis, and those are 2 of the top guys. So we'll see how he matures. We'll see how he gets better. But everyone else in that top 10, not named Davis and Berchelt, I'm picking him to win. Because I'm seeing the improvement. I'm seeing the maturation of a guy who's becoming not just a good boxer or a good boxer puncher or just a good slugger. I'm seeing a guy who's got answers to any questions you could ask him. When you're a fighter and you can answer the questions of any style somebody can bring, it's called being a complete fighter. An example of a complete fighter is like Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford's a complete fighter. He's probably the best answer of a complete fighter I can give you right now. And you know what? I'll take it a step further, right? A lot of people are gassed on Shakur Stevenson, and rightfully so. I like Shakur Stevenson. I think Shakur Stevenson's a great fighter, but I think Chris Colbert if Chris Colbert keeps improving, I think he's going to give Shakur Stevenson some serious problems. Serious problems, because Shakur Stevenson, while he's got all the skills in the world, I think right now that one thing he's lacking, and you could disagree with me, but that one thing he's lacking is that world-class power to put you out of there, to really put the exclamation point on fights. And Chris Colbert, even though he don't have any knockouts, he's starting to develop that power. And he's a bit meaner than Shakur Stevenson, in my opinion. From what I'm seeing, he's a bit meaner than Shakur Stevenson. So that's a fight for the future, and I would not write out B-Hop in that fight. To me, honestly, I give the very, very slight edge to Shakur. It's like a 55-45 fight, but if Lil B-Hop keeps improving, that's a pick'em fight. That's a 50-50 to me. So that's what I think about Colbert. He showed me a lot in the Jaime Arboleta fight. I know Arboleta's no world beater. He's no A-level fighter, but to fight a guy like that, and for B-Hop to have the reputation of not being a big puncher, and then to go in there and beat him at his own game, and it's not just that he beat him at his own game, it's how he beat him at his own game. He beat him switching stances. He beat him counter-punching him in the center of the ring. He beat him counter-punching him off the ropes. He beat him going forward. He beat him going backwards. He beat him going to the side. He showed a lot in that fight, and I think if you haven't watched that fight, it's definitely one to watch. So shout out to Chris Colbert, Lil B-Hop, a product of the Cops and Kids boxing gym in New York City, putting on for the city of New York, picking up the slack for Daniel Jacobs, who boxed like trash against Gabe Rosado. He's doing Brooklyn proud. But I love what I'm seeing from the kid, and I think he's gonna be something special. And I'm hoping that whenever I get a chance to go to New York City, get on the train, take the bus, do whatever we gotta do. Maybe we can go to Primetime Chicken and see what Chris Colbert's restaurant's all about. Because if his restaurant improves as much as he's improving, then they're going to be in good shape. So, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought about Chris Colbert's performance, and how do you see him against the top 10, top 15 fighters at 130. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you take that time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just giving Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.